Welcome to the July 19, 2011 meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have a roll call, please?
Authority members Friedman?
Here.
Nukian?
Here.
Incy?
Here.
Najarian?
Here.
Brazian?
Here.
Weaver? Chair Quintero.
Here. May we have a report?
The agenda for the July 19, 2011 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, July 14, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
What's next?
Next is approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second. The minutes stand approved as submitted. Next, please.
Next is oral communication. One card was submitted. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision, and the matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
Herbert Milano.
Good afternoon, Housing Authority Chair Quintero, members of the Housing Authority, and staff. My name is Herbert Milano. Mr. Quintero, about 10 years ago, in 2001, the city completed a report on the state of youth in Glendale. And throughout the years, I have stated how much I admire the effort that went into creating that significant report. That report told us about the various different programs that were available for youth, the amount of expenditures from the police department and from the housing authority, from the schools, and so forth. And what struck me as interesting about that report is that it required the cooperation of many departments. And at the time, I took it as being a report that was initiated by the city manager. And I complimented him many, many times concerning that particular report because it was done to excellence. At the time, I think it was Mr. Iancano who was in charge of Parks and Recreation. I think he led the effort to bring that report forward. At the time, it showed that the city spent 1% of its overall budget on youth, and that included police efforts on gang prevention and so forth. 1%. On the general fund, the city was spending 2.4%. Mr. Najarian, I'm addressing you as well. I know that you're reading the, the Pasadena Weekly or something, and perhaps you don't show any interest in the things that the speaker comes here to speak about, but these are issues about youth to which you took me to task just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I would expect, sir, that you would have the decency to not read a newspaper when I'm before you trying to speak concerning these issues. I've had for a very long time brought to your attention, the fact that we are not spending sufficiently or putting enough effort in looking out for our youth. It doesn't matter whether they're Hispanic, Armenian, or non-Armenian. Youth overall. This is a city that for a long time, when the children need a place to go, oftentimes they have to find it somewhere else. For a long time, when they didn't need a park and an aquatic facility for many years, the place to go was LA or Pasadena or Burbank. So now we're beginning to address some of those issues, but I think that there's a significant gap that I think somewhere or some authority should be able to take a look and get a report, just like we had back in 2001, to put our priorities back to where they should be. Because I'm concerned about the way the city spends its money. If I were to ask how many tens of millions of dollars are going today towards benefits and pensions and all the other charges that are basically set aside by the city to provide for its support of the payroll. And we were to compare those tens of millions to the minuscule amount that is spent on youth. It's a contrast that I think is worth for everyone to take a look at. For many years, I have been promoting that we should be looking at the state of youth and the state of families at risk. And yet, the reports that the city has in the past supported, like the quality of life indicators back in 2002, and the other report that came out 2 years ago, basically was simply acknowledged and filed away. But no action is taken on it. So I really asked myself, who does the city council and this authority represent? I mean, at the end of the day, I know that there's a lot of benefits that take place with regard to low-income housing, but this cannot be just the only thing that you do. Someone must take a look overall at the state of the city, take the reports from that were funded by the Glendale Adventist Medical Center, a report that I presented to you 3 weeks ago, and someone should be looking at it and say, here are the problems of the city. They have been compiled and documented. What are you going to do with regard to resolving those issues? You know, it's the summertime, and many of these kids in families that are in need a job. How many kids today that need a job don't have one? What is the role of the city in helping to provide some type of engagement for them? If it isn't done here at this authority, where does it take place? Because it's not taking place at the city council meetings. So I'm bringing this to your attention in the hope that you bring this up for an agenda item. Thank you, Mr. Quintero.
Okay, what's next?
Next is any authority member or staff comments.
Comments?
Move we adjourn.
Next? Second. We are adjourned.
Yeah, we'll call to order the joint Glendale Redevelopment Agency and the Housing Authority meeting for July 19th, 2011. Can I have a roll call for the redevelopment agency, please?